Hello everybody, this is Whitey Willauer and this is the next edition of Front Up, and I have a wonderful guest today, Jenny Garneau. Jenny,
hi Whitey.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And tell us about your new job with the state, and you are on Nantucket with the state.
That's right. I still live here on Nantucket after 20 years, and I work with the Department of Mental Health. The title of my position is Community Organizer, and my job is to bring groups together to do suicide prevention, work within the schools, the different human service agencies here on island, bring training programs to the island. Mm-hmm. So it's been really busy.
I can imagine. Now, we've had a suicide problem, I gather, on the island here, and is that why we got these funds? Or?
Right. Well, yeah. We had a number of adolescent suicides a couple of years ago. We had beginning in 2007. And after the second completion, the state, with Dr. Robert Macy, came down and trained 70 people in post-traumatic stress management. And from that came an executive committee to oversee the programs and to try to figure out what to do within the high school to begin to mitigate this terrible situation. So the executive committee was made up of, you were on it, selectmen, clergy, school personnel, school committee. And I was on that committee, and it became apparent quickly, because we also had people from the state coming in, that everyone had their jobs and everyone had great intentions, but there was no one person spearheading, moving everything forward. So the Department of Mental Health funded this position, and I was fortunate enough and was hired to do it.
You know, a lot of people on the outside have asked me questions about this and how we do it, and what specifically are we looking for and such. Can you sort of fill in what the sort of tactics and strategy are? Yeah,
sure. In fact, I've been asked to do that throughout the state in the past year, to go and talk to other groups and to help and work with them. I'm part of also the Cape and Island Suicide Prevention Coalition, so I go over to the Cape and work with them as well. But what we did was first work in the school building, which is good because we have all of the students in one place, so we can get them training. And we began with a program called Signs of Suicide, and it was administered by the Riverside Trauma Center, Larry Berkowitz, and his crew came down, and we screened and trained the whole high school last year. And the screening is for depression. It's a number of questions that the kids are answered, and if they answer 2 or 3 more than of the 4, then they get some extra counseling, and they have a conversation with the counselors here on island, and the parents are contacted. And it also teaches them signs of suicide. So if their friends are saying things that seem like they're depressed or they're having suicidal ideations, it gives the students the answers as to what to do, where to go, so that they don't try to counsel the child, they go to a trusted adult. So when we began the program in the fall of last year, about 23% of kids that referred to counselors were either self or peer referred, and by the end of the program we were up to 56%.
So there's a great deal of acceptance amongst the students as far as this program's concerned.
Right, yeah, it's working really well. So we've done that. We also have now written protocols in place at the high school for if a child is having suicidal ideations, what does the staff do? So everybody knows what they're supposed to do. And these protocols were shared with not just the faculty, but with the maintenance folks and the lunch people, the lunch service people. So everyone in the building knows what to do. And we also have protocols for if something is happening at like a football game or some kind of athletic event. So people are clear, and that's very helpful.
What kind of things do you do? I mean, if you get somebody that has an ideation, what transpires then?
Well, the first thing that you would need to do would be to ask to help this person to get help.
Yeah.
And if they're saying things, if they're doing something like perhaps giving away their favorite CD or whatever it may be. I guess they don't even use CDs anymore. But if they're giving away a trusted, something that's very cherished, or they're saying things like, I want to kill myself, or that you don't need me anymore, then you say you get this person to get help. That's pretty much the first thing that you would do.
And after that, what happens?
And well, then the clinicians will take over.
Clinicians from?
Well, we have a wonderful public facility here, Family and Children's Services. You can take them, you can help the person get there. If it seems very dire, they can go to the emergency room where they have clinicians and people ready to help there. And then we also have a wealth of private clinicians that are skilled and trained. In fact, one of the things that we just did in November was we had an advanced training for clinicians here on Nantucket called Assessing Suicide Risk and management. So how do you assess the risk of suicide ideations within a client? What do you then do? And that also, Larry Berkowitz did that. And that program comes from an organization called SPARC, which is Suicide Prevention Resource Center in DC. So I organized that, and we did it up at Bartlett's Farm. So it was we did it in the hayloft. It was a great location. We had breakfast and lunch served to us. It was an all-day long training. And we had 23 people there taking this training, all the clinicians. And I actually just read today their evaluations, and it was very well received by the clinicians. So doing extra trainings for clinicians and for the school as well. And so
now, how do you reach the parents and the general population?
that's a good question, and that's kind of our next step. The first thing we had to do is kind of stop the floodgate with the adolescent, the teens, and
that's the most visible.
Right, and so we have been successful there. The people that I work with are, suicide specialists, said that we have been successful in that we have extended the interval of time, that's the language they use, between the suicides. So we went almost a year before we had a teen completion this past August. So that was a good sign as far as all of the people in the Department of Mental Health and the Department of Public Health have said to us. So we're on track with the adolescents. So the next thing that we do is reach out to the larger population. So one of the things that we're doing are more trainings. There's going to be a training this Wednesday, the 13th, with a group called, through the DPH, called Workplace Mental Health Care Initiative. And they come in and they train managers on what are signs of depression in the workplace. What are the signs, and then what do you do? And so that I partnered with the Chamber of Commerce and sent out invitations through the Chamber of Commerce to their membership. Also worked with the Builders Association and sent invitations to all the people that are members of the Builders Association and NARAB, the Real Estate Association.
Sure.
And the Nantucket Island Resort Group has been very gracious and is donating the Brant Point Grill for our training center. Yeah. So that's what I do, is I kind of reach out and grab all these different pieces and parcels and bring everybody together. So NIR is going to have their training session with, I believe they said they're going to have 40 people from there.
Wow.
But yeah, because they have a large staff, especially when they amp up in the summer. And then we have another training session at 11 and at 4. And they're both filling up. So I expect by the end of the day, we'll have trained about 100 people.
Yeah.
There's also another training that we're doing for the primary care docs and nurses.
Yeah.
68% of suicide attempts occur within 30 days of seeing the primary care physician, especially in rural areas. So people come in and they have a complaint about something else. So it's called a toolkit that can be provided to the clinicians, so that they have just kind of a couple of questions that they can clip through, so that they have better screening processes.
It sounds like you've got your arms around most of the problems.
Well,
and I gather that you've had some recognition up the line.
Oh, yes.
In the state.
Yeah, thank you. That I don't think it has been. I've been told, I don't know if there's been like a formal press release, but the Nantucket Suicide Prevention Coalition is going to receive a leadership award from the state coalition on February 8th up at the State House.
And recognition for
leadership in the suicide prevention.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah, and I believe there's just a couple other organizations throughout the state of Massachusetts, and they give this out annually. Yeah, it's really great.
So
and
this is another case of Nantucket taking the leadership, taking a difficult problem and becoming a leader.
Absolutely. We have, in fact, I've been able to share the protocols that we've written and work with other communities. Unfortunately, Barnstable had 4 suicide completions of adolescents, teenagers. They were the class of 2008 this summer.
Oh, my goodness.
And so I was able to go over there and work with them, and I talked to the guidance gals at the high school and the principal and tell them what we've been doing and provide our protocols to them.
So Nantucket's providing outreach.
Yes, yeah, we're helping. It's good.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's great. Well, Jenny, I want to thank you very much for coming here and letting us all know and letting the community know about what's happening with all your wonderful work, and best of luck.
Oh, thank you, Whitey. Thank you very much. Nice to be here.
Right. Bye-bye.